Hey Collective, it's Al coming to you with a very particular video that will be dedicated towards a download that I'd gotten that came out of left field to me that I feel was relevant enough to get on camera despite my feeling puffy and allergen attacked at the moment. So forgive the way I appear, but the show must go on, as they say, and the download was pretty specific and pretty much a pretty important topic that I thought I needed to power through and just go ahead and do the video. So what had happened was, as many of you know, I go throughout my week doing my day-to-day job, and then when I have days off, I work on different projects, spiritually speaking, for myself and my own evolution, and I tend to investigate and research topics that most interest me, and then I grasp and hold information long enough to see if it's something that I want to share with the world outside, whether it's in written form on LinkedIn, which I did, relating to a topic I had stumbled upon through the Y files, which I thought was very impressive and had been so well orchestrated and so well done that I wanted to do an introductory piece to my audience over on LinkedIn. So I had begun the process of writing a blog post, essentially, kind of talking about directed panspermia and the presentation that they had done there. And so I was working on fully comprehending what the wording would be and so forth, as I normally do, and digesting the information in a way that I thought would be most suitable for the audience that I was writing to. So in the process, what I had done is I'd gone to bed, as I normally do, and I had basically asked the universe if I had any pointers or anything that I needed to know. And during the course of the night, I had this very particular dream that I thought was very intriguing, where a newspaper landed on my lap, and on the headline was a bio that mentioned the directed panspermia, which was an indication that there was something that I should follow. And then there was something that caught my eye that was really interesting that I wanted to work on for YouTube audience, that will be coming next somewhere during the weekend, that has to do with an idea of the archetypes behind Marvel and DC Comics being brought together in a Super Friends. And the headline of the actual paper was The Super Friends Ride Again, and kind of the spiritual semblance that it has with the idea of, like, say, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael being on the earth and working together to do something to save the planet or whatnot, and kind of the symbolic nature to what that could imply, and I was really going to play with that. But during the dream, a red folder landed on top of my desk. And when I looked at the red folder, I immediately knew that it was pretty important and I needed to stop what I was doing and open the file. And what it was just a simple, the Sphinx versus remote viewing. And immediately upon seeing that heading, I realized that it was more of a cautionary warning to someone out there that I thought would be really important. And that was important enough for me to power through however I was feeling and get on here and kind of speak to it. So essentially what had happened in the dream is that when I read the byline, what I realized is that there was a group of people out there that had begun dabbling into something that they may not be meant to be dabbling in. And it had to do with something called remote viewing. For those of you who don't know, remote viewing is a process by which some people believe that they can project their will into other people's environments, timelines, or into places they shouldn't be, and essentially spy on individuals and people that they are not meant to be looking into. And one of the things that happens with that is that it kind of triggers a warning from all sides. And so what I was specifically supposed to speak to was the way that it was phrased to me. And what had happened is that I was faced with the Sphinx, who, those of you who believe in Egyptian lore, is a part where you may have even seen it in, I think it was the Never-Ending Story, where the hero of the story is faced with the two sphinxes who ask him a riddle, and if he cannot answer it, they eviscerate him. And so the point of the meaning was that there was a question that was asked that I'm supposed to parlay. What is your motivation for remote viewing into areas that you are not meant to be viewing? Are you doing it out of a sense of spiritual ego that can be as toxic and dangerous as any other form of egoish pride? Or are you doing it because someone has hired you to do some dirty work that you think is just curiosity? And this is a very key, important part in general to life. Some things that we all want to uncover are not for the public domain. And there are things that happen within our world that is not always played out in front of the camera or in front of the lens. And sometimes what we consider to be curiosity can hurt the cat. And essentially what I wanted to point out in this particular message is that it wasn't so much that these people were doing anything just unethical. They seem to have approached the divine will in a way where the divine may have been protecting certain energies from being attacked or harmed, only to find that some of the people within our own divine energy field were being used as puppets in order to kind of see into protected domain, protected people, and so forth. And so the importance behind the message and why the Sphinx was specifically speaking to me is because of the fact that the question was very simple. What is your purpose of digging into other people's dirt? Why are you allowing other people to use you and manipulate you? I don't know who this is to. This is not directed at any of you who this does not apply to. But if you're a spiritualist and if you're somebody who understands where we are in the evolution of humanity, it's just something to understand that is happening behind the scenes that crossed my desk in a very particular way that was quite clear that I was supposed to address it directly. And when the boss says you speak to something, you better fucking do it. So, what is the motivation behind whoever these people are to be digging up dirt on innocent people who they know within moments of touching into other people's timelines that they are innocent of any type of wrongdoing? What is your pursuit and why are you acting as a Judas? And that is a very key phrase that I was specifically asked to parlay. Here's the thing. I told you guys a while ago, some of the people on the playground are teachers. And some of them are very much protected by both dark and light. And the reasons is because they are here to help humanity not only solve the Fermi paradox, but also be of service to the greater whole. Some people that you are not able to read are protected not by the devil, but by God and by the great architect directly. And you are broaching a territory where you are coming across as a betrayer of divine will, which has a very harsh punishment to it. It's like going behind enemy lines only to find out that the enemy is your best friend, and that is foreboding. So the message I'm supposed to parlay to these individuals is very clear. Who do you work for? Are you working for yourself, or are you working for people who have the ability to do what you are doing, but who know better than to get trapped, being caught doing such things? Because whoever you are trying to invade seems to be under divine protection. It came on my desk. And I started to really kind of wonder what it is that people were up to. So because I don't know who you are specifically, the only thing I'm supposed to say to those of you who understand this is that only you can protect your own home. And only you can stand firm in boundaries and draw them very clearly with the universe. Anyone who somehow tries to step on that triggers an alarm that is felt throughout the cosmos and begets an energetic surge that can be very detrimental to the person who is betraying the divine will. Now, I don't know what the consequences are to these people. All I know is that it's supposed to serve as a PSA to those of you who are ever approached to do dark arts. Whether you are intending to do something on behalf of goodwill, transparency is everything. If you need to go into the shadows, into the dark areas of the recesses of consciousness in order to somehow accrue information, I'm to remind you that even in human terms, even in the 3D reality, there are laws that govern privacy, and even more so under spiritual law. Do not approach people who you do not know that are minding their own business, especially if they are civilians, and misunderstand that you are being puppeteered by people who can do it but who know better. You are just collateral damage and just fodder. It does not matter what happens to you, but it will matter to you the consequences that come down to such betrayal. It reminds me of a story I once heard about the war in the heavens, where Archangel Michael had to clean house. And the dissension that was created was so disharmonious that it was felt throughout all of the universe. In fact, there are even stories within our 3D reality that echo the possibility that it actually happened. Now, from a moralistic and from a spiritual lens, the question is, regardless of whether or not it actually happened in the physical world, the point is that it does serve as a dire warning to people to do better than to be betrayed, than to be bamboozled into doing stuff that is dark. And what I mean dark is what the Sphinx asks of you. Why are you trying to invade other people's minds? What is it that you think you may accomplish? And whatever that makes you think that you are not being watched, observed, and monitored? Do you really think that there will be no consequences to such dark arts against white light? And do you not understand that even the dark forces don't do it because it is tracked? There are reasons why humanity is facing the hurdles it's facing, and it will be a unitive approach where people work together across all lines in order to help ascend humanity. Your actions are being seen as betrayal. And if the Sphinx appears in my dreams, then I take heed to the warning. Cease and desist. What is your intention here? What are you trying to accomplish? And have you not yet learned that the people that you are trying to invade may actually be servants of a higher will? In the end, what I was left wondering was who got to you? Why would you ever accept a call from the dark side to do the bidding of people who can do it themselves? As though not aware that since they know what you're doing and how to do it and teaching you how to do it, then why don't they do it themselves? Because they know what happens. So, to those of you who this applies to, ask yourself why you are trying to dig into other people's journeys when you should be focused on your own. I am not responsible for any repercussions that happens to people who go into the dark arts. When you work in the shadow, your shadow overcomes your light. And anything you think you have can be taken away. There is a reason why even governments have stopped trying to do this type of process. There is a reason why you don't go digging in other people's houses when you yourself are not clean enough to do so. A true spiritual leader knows shadow and allows other people to work through their shadow on their own merit and in their own time. What business is it of yours to be trying to invade another human being's mental capacity? Even AI is not allowed to try to invade our consciousness. So what is it that you are doing, and why are you doing it? And if you are working for someone else, then you better realize that they are not for your highest will. This is a freedom kingdom. This is about preserving our rights to free thought, free expression, and free speech. It's about preserving the rights of being able to believe in what you believe and be the best expression of who you are after having worked through the shadow that is your cross to bear. It is not anyone else's business what you are doing. And it's very important for us as a collective to be very united on this and be very clear with people what happens to curious cats. Stop messing with other people. Mind your own work. Do what you need to do. And stop fucking with the wrong people because you just might get burned. And that's just all I want to say on the subject. With the sugar comes this, when the sweet comes the sours, y'all. Not all the information that I get etherically or on my spiritual desk is going to be pleasant for everyone. But when it comes in a red file on my desk, where I'm minding my own business working on something completely different, I need to stop what I'm doing and ensure that I do what I'm asked to do. This is not accusatory towards any one person. I was not given any names. I don't know who you are. I just know that it's a group of you. Whoever you are, you're busted. And I would severely suggest that you come clean to your guides or whoever it is you pray to as to why you were bamboozled or duped into doing so. Because whoever this is, you were fucking with the wrong human being. That's all.